Okay, what do you think an equal society would look like?
Gosh, an equal society in the world would be, I don't necessarily consider like equality being like everybody having the exact same house or the exact same car. I think, to me, a more realistic way of looking at an equal society would be that everybody has the same opportunities.
Well, everyone thinks the same thoughts, and everyone has like an equal opportunity to do everything, but everyone's like the same, I guess. And like there's no one, I guess, greater than another person.
I think an equal society would look like a society where people were colorblind. So regardless of race or color, people would be viewed the same way, and the same way with their economic status. So how much money they made wouldn't matter, or their religion or anything.
Comment. How do you think that we would make it so that everyone thinks the same way?
Well, I mean, it's natural for everyone to think differently, but I guess everyone's education would have to be the same, and like everything they were exposed to has to be exactly the same. And like, should I bring about the? And in this book I read, but I forget what it's called. It's pretty famous though. They talked about how like the more intelligent people, they would put this brain thing on, so whenever they would start thinking more intelligent thoughts than others, there would be like a loud noise or like a shock. So then they couldn't think about it anymore, and they would forget immediately what they were thinking about.
That's really interesting.
And like everyone who was prettier than the others, they would get like a mask, an ugly mask that would make them equal to everyone else. So they weren't seen as prettier, they were just seen as equal.
How do you think we would get there?
Well, I think it takes time. It takes people coming together and realizing that even though we have a lot of differences, but we have a lot more similarities. So it's really around tolerance and understanding. And I think already in this world, over the last 100 years or so, we've become much more tolerant. And therefore, we are striving for equality far more than we ever have.
Do you think that technology has anything to do with these new advances?
I think certainly technology really helps because, for example, like the internet has allowed people from third world countries to have a much better understanding of what others are doing and of different economies and different opportunities. Let's say the other way you can achieve more equality is by giving people more economic opportunities. So again, like the internet gave people in various parts of the world a chance to make money and participate in the global economy, and therefore they're more equal than they were before.
How would you achieve the perfect society that you described?
Where everybody had the same opportunities?
Yes.
Wow, I think first of all, it's breaking down a lot of barriers, and I think for the whole world to be on equal grounds, people have to be a lot more accepting of different kind of societies and cultures and everything, and I think being exposed to them makes people more accepting of it. And I think I heard you talking with your dad about technology. You used to not be exposed to that much at all, other than what you used to read in books or what you would see in a movie during your social studies class. Now you can pop on the internet and read see Nigerian tribes or see Asian people in action, see the tragedies that are occurring in Japan, and that just makes it that much more realistic to you that you can go and view those things. And I think that opens up people's minds, and I think it makes people more accepting of other societies.
What kind of technology do you think that we would use to make everyone equal?
Well, definitely internet, because then everyone would have the same access to because everything is on the internet. Like you can find anything. But then again, it's like to be equal, everyone would have to look at the same things on the internet.
Do you think that it was the third world societies that make our society unequal?
I think that's one of many examples of inequality still today, economic inequality. But I also think there's other inequalities, besides canines. Again, I think there's also race inequality, unfortunately, called discrimination. that still exists in this world.
So, do you think that in this perfect world, then we would have a leader to control it all?
No. It depends on the leader. Because, well, probably not, because then he would not be equal with everyone else.
So then, what do you think needs to rule the world so that everyone can be equal and no one has higher powers than someone else?
Technology, like computers and stuff.
So, you think that a computer could eventually someday rule the world so that everyone's equal?
Yeah.
So, some kind of like sci-fi robot thing?
Uh-huh. I think that's what would have to happen.
Don't you think that people will still look down on one another, or, maybe by class system, or do you not think that that matters in an equal society?
Well, I think if you want to make an equal society, then I think maybe you have to. I don't know. Are you looking like it has to, like you have to pay people the same so they can buy the same things that they want, but they don't have to? I mean, people judge things based on where they live or what they drive or what clothes they wear or, what brand of shoes they buy or what purse they carry. You know, I don't think you're ever going to get rid of that stuff, but if everybody's happy with what they have, then I feel like that's ideal and equal.
You also said before that everyone would have the same opportunities.
Yeah.
How do you think that we would achieve that?
Well, I guess, like, everything would have to be the same, like, everyone's, like, resources in each world, like, I guess each country would have to be exactly the same. What? What?
Nothing, sorry. How do you think that we would make sure that all the countries are the same when we all have such different cultures now?
I have no clue. I guess technology.
So how do you think that we would achieve racial equality?
Well, I think we're already on the road to achieving it. If you look at the history of the United States, obviously we had slavery only 135, 140 years ago, and now we elected the first black president. And of course, a lot of our sports heroes and a lot of our pop idols are also African American and of other races. And I think it's examples like that where you see the American population anyway looking past race and color and really trying to determine the attributes of a person, and that determines whether they'll follow them or not. I think we've really come a long way as a country as a result, and it kind of builds on itself. The next time we had a female vice president 20 years ago or so as a nominee, and it wouldn't shock me if we don't have a female president in the next 5 to 10 years, and that would be another example of equality.
Okay, thank you for your time, Julia.
You're welcome.